Hey baby girls, welcome to my airbrush brow tutorial. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to use your machines when performing brow lamination in the same treatment. Get ready for some sexy brows. So I'm first going to start off with cleansing the brows. I'm using HD Brows Brow Foam Cleanser and their amazing little exfoliating brow brush. This is so nice and gentle on the skin, but it works really effectively, removing any dead skin cells, any buildup of makeup, and just ensuring the skin is fully clean and prepped. I'd then like to use a spoolie just to make sure there's absolutely no traces of dead skin cells sat in between those hairs. And then I just like to use a little bit of water on a damp cotton pad just to get rid of all that residue. So once the eyebrows are all prepped, we're going to go in with our first treatment, which will be the lamination treatment. And I'm using today ellebana's Elleplex Pro Fusion Assistant. So this is a lot more gentler and kinder for Chelsea's eyebrow hairs. She has very fine hair, but quite stubborn hair. And they're quite temperamental, so I like using this system for her eyebrows. I think it works amazing. We don't give her any form of over processing. As you can see, the bulbs are really fine, so I actually don't apply it on the bulbs. And then I turn my stopwatch on and wait a minute before I go back in and apply to the fronts of those brows. You can look and assess an eyebrow. If there's some hairs that look super fine compared to the rest of the brows, we're going to hold off from putting it on those hairs, and we're going to put it on the stubborn hairs, and then we can give it a minute or even 2 minutes, and then you can go back in and pop it on the finer hairs. I'm going to cover this product up because this product's a lot more gentler than my inlay products, and I'm going to cover those for about 5.5 minutes. So it's been 5 minutes. I'm going to take the film off and just assess the brows to make sure that another 30 seconds will be perfect, or if I need to leave it on for a little bit longer. I can see they've laid beautiful. I reckon another 30 seconds will be absolutely spot on. Why is this so satisfying? Oh, they have laid beautiful, and you can see Corey in the mirror. And then I'm just going to use a dry cotton pad and just wipe away step 1 to make sure there's no more developing on those hairs. Now it's time for step 2 of the lamination treatment, and I'm now going to add some Elleplex Regen to step 2. So this is just going to help the hairs restore. It's almost like an Olaplex for your brows. It helps to condition the brow hairs, it helps to hydrate them, it helps to make the bonds healthier. So yeah, it's a really nice product to add to your step 2 to really ensure that you're getting a really nice lamination treatment without any over processing or any dry frizzy hairs. Once I've applied step 2, I go through the brows using my dental tool, which everyone knows by now. This is such a nice tool to use to really encourage the hairs to sit in that position and just set them and style them how you would like them to lay when they're set. And then I cover the brow hairs again with some film. Remember, when you're using any kind of brow lamination product, you must read the instructions because every brow lamination product is different. Some require film, some don't, depending on the strength. So please make sure you do look if you need film or not. I left step 2 on for 5.5 minutes, same as step 1, and now I'm removing all that product. You can see how amazing they've laid. Oh, they look absolutely divine. We're getting closer to using the airbrush machine. And I'm just going to draw a guideline of where I would like to stick my template stickers. So you don't have to do this, but I really strongly recommend you do this when you're using an airbrush machine. You can see visually if the brows look symmetrical. I mean, you can do the proper guide if you would like. I mean, I'm just free drawing this because I can see where I would like the tint to sit on Chelsea's hair. But yeah, it's up to you how you'd like to map them. This pen is incredible. If you don't own this, I recommend it. It's by a brand called Brows, and it's their mapping pen in white. So the brows are ready to apply the Airbrush Brow shaping guides. So these are super sticky. I recommend taking off your gloves to apply these because, oh my goodness, trying with gloves, you just get yourself into a mess. And you will be very surprised how easy they are to manipulate. As long as that arch is exactly where you have drawn the arch in, you can stretch and move the stickers to fit exactly where you want them. So yeah, they take a little bit of time to get used to them, but just take your time with them and be super precise and they will not fail you. These are very universal. You can get these if you type in Airbrush Brow shaping guides. You can get these from most beauty suppliers. Amazon sell them, eBay, you name them. They're all pretty much the same guides. So I just want to go through the kind of tint we should be using with our airbrush machines. So we want a hybrid tint and we want a liquid hybrid tint because that's going to flow through our machines. So today I'm going to be using HD Brows new hybrid tint stay. And you want to add enough drops to fit in your machine as you don't want to run out halfway. You want half of the developer to your tint ratio and you want to add a saline solution. I'm using 3 squirts to liquidize the product further. And then we're going to pour that in the machine and we're going to test out the power of the machine on a cotton pad before we go in on the face. So we're always going to start on the tail section of the brows, never the fronts. And today I really want to give Chelsea a super natural airbrush look. So I'm not going to saturate the fronts. I'm going to leave those until later. And I'm just going to concentrate on the tails. I want those bulbs to look soft and airy and not heavy. So you want to wait in between each layer to dry. So I'm happy, I've given it a few minutes, so I'm going to go back in and repeat my second layer of tint on that brow. You can see I'm trying to keep those fronts really soft and airy. I'm not directly pointing that gun at those bulbs. I want them to look super natural. So I'm just going to spray a teeny bit in this section here just to sculpt out that section because she lacks a little bit more hair in that area. I'm going to make sure they're fully dry, apply your third coat, and then they're ready to come off. Make sure you give it a few minutes before you peel these off. You don't want the product to be runny. You can see the stencils actually took half of Chelsea's eyebrows, unwanted eyebrow hairs away. As you can see, poor Chelsea was having a bit of slow torture sat here, having all these hairs ripped out of her head. But you can see how sticky the stencils are. We need them to be that sticky because otherwise it wouldn't do the job. So sorry, Chelsea, for putting you through some slow torture. There's a little bit of overspill here, so I'm just going to use a damp cotton pad just to remove that. And don't worry guys, the brows aren't going to look like this. I've used a really nice soft colour, so we're going to take this off and show you the reveal. So we wanted to keep those bulbs nice and soft and airy. Remember, when your tint is on, it will start to oxidize and it will look so much darker than what it will look when you've wiped it off. So bear that in mind. Obviously today we wanted to keep it nice and soft. Chelsea's hair is super blonde. I didn't want them to look too in your face. She's off on her holidays and I want them to look perfect from day one. But if you're obviously wanting to go in heavier, you can go for a darker colour. And if you are wanting to give that little bit more coverage in the bulb, remember you can take your machine a little bit further to the fronts. I didn't. I wanted that soft natural look and I feel like we absolutely smashed it. I'm not going to wax Chelsea's eyebrows today because we've already done that with the strips. So we're just going to go in and thread those last unwanted hairs away. I can follow the shape that obviously I've achieved with the tint, so I don't need to do any mapping, and just give her one last little bit of paint before I show her the amazing results. So even when I'm using hybrid tint, I do still like to use an after lotion, but I try not to actually put it in the hairs. I try and concentrate on the skin around the hairs because we want that tint to stay on the skin for as long as possible. So I just make sure that that skin around there is nice and soothed, and then I can finish using my finishing products. I'm currently obsessed with Buff Brows Brow Highlighter Palette, and I'm using their brush as well. This is super creamy and super easy to apply. It's so beautiful and finishes the brows off perfect. But look at these brows. How natural do they look? I think sometimes when you think of airbrush brows, people think that they're going to be super sharp and super heavy, and the bulbs are going to be really square. It totally depends on your application. I feel like this is my favourite technique, keeping those bulbs nice and airy, but defining the rest of the brow. I'm so happy with this result. I cannot wait to show Chelsea. I'm now swapping my brush just to soften that highlighter. And if you can see some sharp highlighter lines, just use a Q-tip just to take that excess away. Now to finish with my favourite brow product, this is HD Brows Clear Brow Gel. Absolutely love this stuff. It keeps the brows held all day long, and it also doesn't flake or go white or crummy. It's beautiful and it really just finishes those brows off perfect. Oh, look at these brows. I'm obsessed. And if you can't remember what Chelsea's brows looked like before, take a look. Look at the difference. I mean, how incredible is my job that I can transform brows like this on a daily basis? Honestly, I can't tell you how much I love my job. I love it. I love it, and I love these brows, and I hope you've learned so much watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.